Very good morning, dear students. Welcome back to the class. This video is for class 10th, subject science, chapter number 12, electricity, and this is lecture number 8. This is summary lecture of chapter number 12, electricity. As we have completed the chapter in the previous lecture, today we are going to summarize the chapter and the contents will be electric current. In that we will see electric charge concept as well. Then we will see electric circuit, electric potential and electric potential difference. We will also learn about the circuit diagrams and various symbols of electrical components. Then we will learn about Ohm's law, resistance, and the factors on which the resistance of a conductor depends. The resistance of a system of resistors. Then we will see the heating effect of electric current, electric energy and electric power. So this is how we're gonna conclude the chapter. So let us begin with the electric current. So first topic is electric current. But as we know that current is because of the flow of charge. So first we should study electric charge. What is electric charge? Electric charge is a physical property of a matter or substance which causes it to experience a force when placed near the other matter or substance. That means, suppose we have a substance or we have a charge. So a charge will always have a certain reason around it where we can feel the effect of this charge. And and how we are going to feel the effect of this charge? Because when we place another charge into this region, then this charge will put some efforts, put some kind of force on that other charge. If this charge is positive and we are putting a positive charge into its region, then it will repel it. If this charge is negative, we are putting a positive charge in this region, then it will attract it. And if this is negative and we are putting a positive charge, then also it will attract it. So that is how we can say that there are two types of charges, positive and negative. When we studied charge, we have seen that how the charge is generated on any surface. Now, what are the properties of charges? So, properties of charges. First property is like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. Like we have talked about, positive charge will repel, negative charge will also repel, but positive charge will attract each other. Second property is electric charge is conserved. This means electric charge can never be created nor be destroyed, but it is conserved in nature. That means the algebraic sum of positive and negative charges of an isolated system will always remain same. The third property is electric charge is quantized. Here the word quantized means that the electric charge, which is basically the electron, which revolves around the nucleus of an atom. So that is the charge basically, and that charge can only be transferred in integral numbers. That means in discrete packets only we can transfer the electrons. And that is why electric charge is always quantized, which is given by the formula Q is equal to plus minus Ne, where N is the number of electrons transferred and E is the charge on one electron, that is 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 coulomb, and this is with a negative sign. Coulomb is the unit of charge. With this is written with a capital word C. Then come to electric current. Electric current. When this electric charge, that is electron, when there is a net flow of electron in any conductor, then it constitutes electric current. We can also say net amount of charge flowing through any cross section of a conductor in unit time is called electric current. It is given by a word capital I and measured in amperes. I is equal to charge per unit time. So what is charge? Charge is Q, time T, charge is measured in coulombs and time is measured in seconds. So we have coulombs per second, or the standard international unit of current is ampere, denoted by a word capital A. So as we have I is equal to Q upon T, if you want to define 1 ampere current, then how much 1 ampere current is? Electric current is said to be 1 ampere if 1 coulomb of charge flows through any cross section of the conductor in 1 second. Then current flowing through the circuit will be 1 ampere. Current, as this is just a net flow of charges, it is a scalar quantity. Ammeter, which is a device used to measure the electric current, is connected in series in an electric circuit to measure the current. Then we have electric circuit. Electric circuit is basically the path of electric current in which the electric current flows. And this path of electric current is containing a source of electric energy, which is cell or battery, and the components, electrical components, or various electrical devices like resistors, switches, keys, electric bulbs, ammeter, voltmeter. So all these are there in the electric circuit, and these are connected with each other with the help of connecting wires. And we have studied about the electric circuit then that electric circuit can be open circuit or closed circuit. In open circuit, no current flows, but in closed circuit, current flows. So let me show you one simple electric circuit in which we have electric lamp, a battery, key, ammeter, and connecting wires. So these all are connected with the help of connecting wires with each other. I hope you are aware with the symbols of electrical components. But it's okay if you are not. I'll be showing you the symbols now as well. As we have studied about the electric current and electric circuit, but we know that the current in a conductor, suppose this is our wire, and in this wire, as this wire is made up of some material, and that material will have atoms. So that atom will have the nucleus and the orbits around it, in which nucleus is having neutrons and protons, whereas the orbits are having electrons revolving in it. So mainly because the neutrons and protons are there in the nucleus, they will not come out of it to conduct. But these electrons, when they revolve around the electrons, so in case of metals, as we know that atoms are so closely packed with each other that some of the electrons get free to move inside the conductor. Inside the material, they can move throughout the material. So we have large number of free electrons in metals. That is why generally metals are used to make conducting wires. For example, copper, aluminium. As we know, the silver is the best conductor of electricity, but being expensive, it is not used to make conducting wires. Instead of this, we are using copper and aluminium. So in a wire, we have free electrons. And these free electrons which are able to move in the material itself, but they will not move from this point to this point by themselves. So there is a requirement of some force, some electrical force that can move these electrons from one end of the conductor to another. And that force is called potential, electric potential. Because there is a need to bring this electron, if I consider only one electron and define electric potential, then the energy required or the work done to bring one charge from point A, or you can say from infinity to a particular point. Suppose here, I want to bring it here. So from infinity to point A, so that amount of work required to bring a charge from infinity to point A will be known as electric potential. So we can define electric potential as, so electric potential is the work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to that point in the electric field. Now electric field is the region around the charge. Suppose we have a charge here Q, and this Q charge will have a region around it in which we can feel the effect of Q charge. And suppose this charge is a positive Q charge. And we have another charge which is unit positive charge in this region. So if we have a unit positive charge, let's say it is plus Q. So to bring it, as these two will repel each other, but to overcome this force of repulsion, we need to put some energy, some work to be done. So that work which is to be done to bring this unit positive charge from infinite position, infinity to a particular point in the electric field of this charge, in the electric field of charge Q. So that amount of work done is known as electric potential. Electric potential is denoted by a capital word V, and it is given as the formula work done upon per unit charge. So work done per unit charge will be our electric potential. Work is having standard international units as joule. Q is measured in coulombs. So the standard unit of volt electric potential will become joules per coulomb or simply volt. So we know 1 volt is equal to 1 joule work upon 1 coulomb charge. So if we have to define 1 volt electric potential, so 1 volt electric potential is the amount of electric potential when 1 joule work is done to carry a unit positive charge, that is 1 coulomb charge, from infinity to that point in the electric field. Then we have electric potential difference. Electric potential difference, as the name suggests, this will be the difference in the electric potentials. But of what? So suppose we have a charge Q which is having a region which is known as electric field around it. So we consider 2 points here, A and B, or B or A, it's up to you. Then if we have to bring one unit positive charge from infinity to a point A, then that potential will be VA. If we have to bring the unit positive charge from infinity to point B, let's say the point B is closer to the nucleus, not here, then this potential will be more than VA, because here the force of repulsion will be more. So more amount of work is to be done to bring it at B. So this will be potential as VB. So the difference to bring a unit positive charge from A to B, which is more closer to nucleus, or you can say more closer to the positive charge. So that difference in the potentials will be known as electric potential difference. So here, according to the situations we have done, so VB will be higher and VA will be lower. So electric potential difference will be VB minus VA. And we can define it as work done in moving a unit positive charge from point B to A. So this is denoted as del V and given as VB minus VA. So we are doing so we have to do one thing, that from point A to point B. So del V will be VB minus VA given as the same formula, work done per unit charge. So the units will be same, and this is also a scalar quantity. Now what is the cause that electric current or charge to flow in an electric circuit? Always remember that charge is a type of energy. Energy always flows from higher level to lower level. Or you can take an example that here we have a container in which we have two sides. So there is a wall in the container in between, and here we have a wall, and the two sides of the container are filled with water. In one side we have higher level of water, so this is filled with water and this is also filled with water, but here the water level is high, here the water level is low. Now if we open up the valve here, if this water is allowed to pass through this wall, then what will happen? Will the water go from lower side to higher side? No, because here the pressure is more. Here the water pressure on the bottom of the container is less. So this is nature's law that this water will try to equate or minimize its pressure. So how it will do it? The water will move from higher level to lower level or from high pressure to lower pressure. Till then it becomes equal. So it will flow till then it becomes equal in both the sides. So this is what happens in an electric conductor as well, because there is a requirement of the difference in the pressure levels so that the water flows from one side to another side. Suppose if we are having a container with the two sides and both the sides are having equal amount of water. Even if there is a wall and even if we open this wall, then will there be any difference? No. So if the pressure level is same on both the sides, then water will not move from either side because the pressure is same. So to move or to make the water flow from one side to another side, there should be some difference in the pressure level. And when we talk about the electric circuits, that difference is there in the electric potentials. When electric potential in a conductor, although electrons are all through the material, but will the electron move itself towards this point? No. Electrons are negatively charged particles, so they will be attracted towards the positive charge. So what we have to do, we have to keep the potential at one end of the conductor higher and at one point or one end of the conductor lower. So if we have so, that means this is more positive and this is more negative. So negative charge, negative end will repel the electrons, and that's how electric current is moved in a conductor. So this is the energy, this difference basically is the reason that how electron will move from one point to another point. So now the electrons are drifted towards the higher potential. So basically what is the reason to move the electrons in a conductor? It is electric potential difference. And that is why electric potential difference, which is basically the source of energy to move or to make the net flow of charges in a conductor, it is also called as electromotive force. Electro for electrons, motive movement, force. So to make the electrons move, the force required is electric potential difference, is also called as EMF or energy source of the electric circuit. So whenever I say energy source in an electric circuit, that means I am talking about the source which can provide this electric potential difference in the circuit. Next topic is circuit diagram. We have studied about electric circuit. Electric circuit is what? Electric circuit is mainly the path of electric current in which conducting wires are used to connect the sources of energy and various electrical components. So here circuit diagram is basically the arrangement of various components in an electric circuit with the help of their symbols. So when we are drawing the arrangement of electric circuit in the form of a diagram and various electrical components are shown with the help of their symbols in the diagram, then that kind of diagram will be known as circuit diagram. So what are the various symbols which we use? So what are various electrical components that we use? Cell, battery. So these cell and battery are mainly the sources of energy, or you can say the source of EMF. That means cell and battery provide us the electric potential difference so that the current can move or the charge can move in a conductor. So for the cell we have a symbol where this bigger line is positive terminal and smaller line is negative terminal. For battery, because battery is the combination of cells itself, so it will be 2 or more cells which makes a battery. So you can make 2 or more. So this is final positive terminal, this is final negative terminal of the battery. Then we have plug key. Key is made with this symbol and this is the connection to the circuit. This is open key, and when we put a dot in between, that means this is a closed plug key. Then switch. Switch is having a basic symbol this way, but this is a open switch. If we do, or you can say this way, then this becomes a closed switch or off and on situation. Electric bulb or lamp is made with the symbol this. Then wires crossing without joining will be made with the help of this symbol. A wire joint will be shown with this symbol. Then we have a fixed resistance. So fixed resistance is shown with the help of zigzag line. Variable resistance, where when we can vary the value of resistance. So that is almost done with the help of rheostat. And here we have rheostat is actually the electrical component which is used for having variable resistance values. So both are same, but we can have symbols this or this. They both are for variable resistors. Then we have ammeter. Ammeter is the device used to measure the current in the circuit, and this is always connected in series as it has to measure the current through the circuit. So it is having a positive terminal and a negative terminal. The positive terminal is connected to the positive terminal of the battery. Negative terminal is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. So this is how a series connection is done. Then we have voltmeter. Voltmeter, that means this is the device to measure the voltage, or you can say the volts, that is potential difference. So this is having a symbol. This is always connected in parallel with the electrical components to measure the potential difference, because potential difference has to be measured at 2 points, 2 ends of the conductor. So that is why this is connected in parallel. Then we have a galvanometer. Galvanometer is an electrical device which is used to indicate or to detect the presence of current in the circuit. So this is having 2 symbols, and these 2 symbols are almost same because in any direction it can show the current. Now let's begin with the next topic, that is Ohm's law. Ohm's law states that the electric current flowing in a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference, provided that the temperature and other physical conditions remains the same. That means while studying the relation between the current and the potential difference, the temperature and other physical conditions should remain the same. And according to Ohm's law, current flowing in the circuit is directly proportional to the potential difference applied across the ends of the conductor. We can also write it as V is directly proportional to I, or when we remove this proportionality, then we write a constant R here. This R is a constant and this is called resistance. Resistance of the conductor. So as we have V is equal to IR, so if we calculate the value of R from here, then we get R is equal to V by I. So R is the resistance of the conductor, V is the potential difference, I is the current flowing in the circuit. So we can define resistance as the property of a conductor. Remember, this is the property of the conductor and not the material. Property of the conductor to oppose, to resist the flow of charge through it is known as resistance. And resistance is denoted by the capital word R, measured in ohm. Ohm is the SI unit of resistance. So when we have to define 1 ohm resistance, then we can say then value of potential difference is also 1, current is also 1. Or we can say that resistance will set to be 1 ohm if 1 volt potential difference is applied across the ends of the conductor and 1 ampere current is flowing through the conductor. So volt is the unit of potential difference, ampere is the unit of current. So volt per ampere, or you can combinedly say it ohm, or this is the symbol to make ohm. Ohm. Now what is the cause of resistance? So we know that in a conductor, what do we have? We have electrons. From where do we have these electrons? Because we are having atoms in the metal, or you can say the conductor, and around each nucleus in an atom, electrons are revolving. But as in the metal, they are so closely packed that we have free electrons which can move inside the conductor. That means these electrons are moving in random directions when no electric potential difference is applied to them. So now they are randomly moving in all the directions. But when we connect this conductor with a source of energy or a source of EMF, you can say a battery or a cell. So here we are taking a cell. So we are creating a positive potential at this end and negative potential at this end. So electrons will go from lower potential to higher potential, because they are getting drifted towards the positive side, positive terminal of the battery. So here, when they have to move towards the positive terminal, then the random motion of each electron will be changed. They all will try to move in this direction. So the net flow will be in this direction. So to make the net flow take place, the electrons, they change their position, they change their direction and try to align in this direction. So they will also try. So each electron will try to align towards the positive terminal of the battery. Now in doing this, what happens? Because we cannot forget the atoms and the ions present in the conductor. So the electrons will strike with the atoms and ions present in the conductor, and this will cause a oppose to the flow of charge. This striking of electrons with atoms and ions will hinder the flow of electrons towards the positive terminal of the battery. And this is what, from where the existence of resistance comes. So this opposeness or this resistance is called the basically the property of the conductor by which it is restricting the flow of charge through it. So this is what, from where the resistance comes. Now the factors on which resistance depends. I told you that resistance is a constant in case of Ohm's law, but this constant is a property of the conductor. So on some of the properties of conductor it depends, like length, area of cross section, and the material from which it is made up of. So here we have a formula which is R is equal to rho L by A. You all know that from where this formula has come, because resistance of a conductor is directly proportional to the length of the conductor. That means if length is more, the resistance will be more, and inversely proportional to the area of cross section of the conductor. That means the thicker the wire will be, the lower will be the resistance. So when we combine these two equations, we get R is directly proportional to L by A. And when we remove this proportionality, we put a constant rho here, and this rho is called resistivity. Resistivity, or you can say the specific resistance of material by which the conductor is made. So here in this formula we have R resistance, rho is the resistivity or specific resistance of the material, L is the length of the conductor, A is the area of cross section. Along with these factors, temperature is also one important factor on which the resistance depends. Because of the temperature increase, the kinetic energy of the electrons in the conductor increases, and they move with a higher kinetic energy. And when they move with the higher kinetic energy and strike to the atoms or ions present in the conductor, then they transfer their energy, their kinetic energy. Electrons, they transfer their kinetic energy into or to the atoms and ions, which increases the vibrational energy of atoms and ions, and they start oscillating towards their mean position with a larger amplitude. So this is how the temperature of the conductor is raised. So with the increase of temperature, the resistance also increases. But for different materials, resistivities are different, and on the basis of resistance, the different types of materials can be used to make or used for different applications. As we have studied that with a low resistance, materials which are called conductors. So conductors are basically used for conducting wires. Then with high resistance, we have some materials which are called alloys, and these are used for making heating elements like electric heater, electric iron, toasters, water heaters. And the materials which are having a very high resistance are used as insulators, which can uh, prove as a safety device from electric shock or electric heat. Then we have the topic resistance of system of resistors, because when we use electric circuit, that an electric circuit is having various electrical components. Each electric component is made up of some material, and because of that it is having some resistance. So depending upon the arrangement of the resistors in the electric circuit, there can be two types of arrangements: series and parallel. When various electrical resistors or various electrical components having resistance are arranged in such a way that they are connected, I am showing with this diagram with zigzag line as resistance 1. This can be any electrical component with resistance 1, or you can say resistance. When they are connected in such a way that end-to-end connection is there, R1, R2 and R3, R4, R5, Rn up. So this will be a series combination. When the electrical components are arranged in such a way that they make connections like this, then this is called parallel combination. Now let us see how to calculate the equivalent resistance of system of resistors in series and system of resistors in parallel. So first we should know what is equivalent resistance. So equivalent resistance is the resistance of series or parallel combination of resistors. So this is the total, or you can say effective resistance of the combination which we are using. So in case of series combination, let's say we have three resistors connected in series with each other. We have one source of energy which is giving us V volt potential difference, one ammeter which can measure the current flowing in the circuit. So we have studied the relation of potential difference applied to the arrangement of, or you can say the combination of resistors, and the potential difference across the individual resistance. So we found out that different resistors have different potential differences across them, but the total potential difference is the same. That means if V1 is the potential difference across R1, V2 is the potential difference across R2, V3 is the potential difference across R3, then the total potential difference applied across the end of the conductor, this will be same as the sum of individual potential differences across each resistor. We also found out with the help of one activity that same current flows through each resistor in the circuit. That is given by I. So according to Ohm's law, we have V is equal to IR, but as V1 is different for R1, so accordingly we have V1 is equal to IR1 as the current is same in all, V2 IR2, V3 IR3. So by putting the values in equation number 1 for V1, V2, V3, we get IR1 plus IR2 plus IR3. So we take I common and we are getting I R1 plus R2 plus R3. So when we compare it with Ohm's law equation, then we find out that this R1 plus R2 plus R3 is our equivalent resistance or effective resistance of series combination of resistors. So written as RS, S denotes the series combination. So RS will be the sum of individual resistors connected in series. It can be up to n resistors, and they have to be added up to get the combination of resistors. Now, we have also studied about the disadvantages of series combination. The first disadvantage is that same current flows through each resistance. Or you can say, if we talk about the electrical circuit, then if same current flows through each electrical appliance, which is not required generally, because each electrical appliances, they have their own requirement for current. They work on different currents. So this is one of the disadvantages which is not required. Second, when the resistors are connected in series, so all the electrical appliances which are connected in series, either they will work together or they will not work. So one situation can be switch on for all and switch off for all, which is not always required, because many times we want that some of the electrical appliances should work while some of them should not. So we cannot do the switching of any electrical appliance in case of series connections. Third is, if one of the electrical appliance among all the series connection electrical appliances is not working, suppose this is not working or this is getting damaged, then the rest of the electrical appliances will not work. Why? Because here our circuit breaks. Now the circuit is open as this appliances is not working. So the current will not flow from after this circuit. So this will remain till here. The current will flow till here, and if no current is flowing through these electrical appliances, they will not work. So these were some of the disadvantages of series combination of electrical, or you can say series combination of resistors. Next combination is parallel combination of resistors. So when the resistors are connected in this way, they are called as parallel connections. And when this combination of resistors is used in an electric circuit, we have here a potential difference source, which is giving us V volt potential difference, an ammeter to measure the current flowing in the circuit. Let's say the current flowing in the circuit is I. We have three resistors in parallel with each other, R1, R2 and R3. Here voltmeter is used to measure the end potential difference across the end of the combination of resistors, which is showing as V volt. Then with the help of two activities, we have studied the relationship between the current of the total current of the circuit and individual currents flowing in the circuit. So we found that at the end of the current, at the end of the conductor, we are having I current, but when the combination of resistance comes, the current divides and flows as I1, I2 and I3. So accordingly, I1, R1, I2, R2, I3, R3 will be the potentials. But we have seen with the help of one activity that when we connect voltmeter to each the resistance, then we found out that potential difference is same across all the resistors, individual resistors. So 2 points are there, that potential difference is same in all the resistors, but the current is different in all the resistors, but total current is same. So we can write it as I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. So according to Ohm's law, we have V is equal to IR. So if we find out the value of I from here, it will be V upon R. If we have to find the value of I1, it will be V upon R1. For I2, it will be V upon R2. For I3, it will be V upon R3. So by putting the values of I1, I2, I3 in this equation, we get V upon R1 plus V upon R2 plus V upon R3. As V is common, so we take it as out. and we get 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon R3. So when we compare it with V is equal to I V upon R. So when we compare it with this equation, we find out that this factor is equal to 1 upon Rp, which is our effective resistance of parallel combination. So effective resistance or equivalent resistance of parallel combination is written as 1 upon Rp is equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon R3. So this is how we get the equivalent resistance in case of parallel combinations. Now, what are the advantages of parallel combinations? First advantage is that the potential difference is same across each resistance. That means same potential difference is applied, but the current which is drawn by each resistor is according to their requirement. So each electrical component can draw the current according to its requirements. Second, switching can be done. If we want some of the appliances not to work, we can switch them off, and that will not affect at all the whole arrangement. Third is, if one of the appliances got damaged or not working, so the rest of the arrangement will not get affected. So these were the benefits of having parallel arrangements. But generally, not only the series combination or not only the parallel combinations are used. We use a series parallel combination basically in all type of electrical appliances, where some of the arrangements of resistors are in parallel and some of the arrangements are in series with each other. Our next topic is heating effect of electric current. So we have seen that when the current flows through the circuit for a longer time, then the wire gets heat up. So that is called heating effect of current. That means when current is flowing through a conductor, then heat is produced in that. So we can define it as the production of heat in a conductor due to the flow of electric current through it is called heating effect of electric current. When heat is produced because of the flow of current, then it is called heating effect of electric current, because electrical energy is being converted into heat energy. We have seen how, because when the electrons are when potential difference is applied across the ends of the conductor, electrons, they try to align themselves towards the higher potential. They try to move in that direction, and in doing so, they move and strike with the atoms or ions present in the conductor. In doing so, they transfer their kinetic energy to the atoms and ions, and the electrical energy of electrons decreases, but the atoms and ions, they get energy in the form of vibrational energy, and they start vibrating on their mean position. They start oscillating on their mean position with larger amplitude, and this increases the temperature of the conductor. This we have discussed as well. So this is how electrical energy is being converted into heat energy. Now, this conversion of electrical energy is utilized to make electrical appliances which work on this heating effect of electric current. How to calculate the amount of heat produced when some amount of current is flowing? So let us see how to do it. Let's say we have a conductor, ends AB, potential difference V volt is applied. So the V volt potential difference will be there at the end V AB of the conductor. So let I current is flowing in the circuit. So we know that potential difference V is equal to the work done per unit charge. So it is given as V is equal to W upon Q. So work done is equal to V into Q. So this is our equation 1. If I current is flowing in the circuit, then I current is given as charge flowing per unit time. So that charge, we can calculate the value of Q from here. That will be I into T. So this is equation number 2. Putting the value of Q from equation 2 to equation 1, we get W is equal to V into Q. So if we are putting the value of Q as I into T, so we get the work done as VIT. Work done is the heat or energy which is developed during this conversion. So heat, energy or work done is equal to VIT. Heat and work both are measured in joules. Now we have some of the modifications of this formula. H is equal to V into I into T, as we have V is equal to IR, Ohm's law. So according to that, we have V is equal to IR. So if we put the value of V is equal to IR into this equation, we get IR IT. So that becomes I square RT. This particular formula is known as Joule's law of heating. Joule's law of heating says, or you can define Joule's law of heating, that heat energy developed in a conductor is directly proportional to the square of the current flowing in the circuit, directly proportional to the resistance of the conductor, directly proportional to the time for which the current flowing in the circuit. So when we combine these equations, we get I square RT. When we remove this proportionality, we get a constant K here. So when we put the value of constant K as 1, we get IH is equal to I square RT. Joule's law of heating. We can also have one more modified form, because according to V is equal to IR, if we calculate the value of I from here, that is V by R. So if we put the value of V by R here, we get V into V by R into T. That becomes H is equal to V square by R into T. So we have 3 formulas for heat developed, and we can choose any one according to the requirements of the question, because we will be given some values in the numerical problems. So according to the values given to us, we can choose any formula among 3. Now let's see some practical applications of heating effect of current. So the first practical application is that heating effect of current is used in various electrical appliances like electric heater, electric iron, water heater, because we know that heat is directly proportional to the resistance of the material. So resistance of the conductor. So the conductors which are having a very high resistance are generally used to make the filaments of electric heater, iron or water heaters. So metals are generally not used for this purpose, because metals are having a very low resistance. So the alloys are basically used like nichrome, because they are having a very high resistance, very high melting and boiling points. So these are used for making the filaments of electric heater, electric iron and water heaters, toasters as well. Then second application is electric bulb, because electric bulb glows when electrical current flows through it. We know that in a bulb, a tungsten material is used to make the filament of the bulb. Tungsten, which is in the very thin wire form, is used to make it, because tungsten is having a very high melting point, that is higher than 3000 degrees Celsius, which is very high. So it will not even burn or oxidize at higher temperatures. This will convert the electrical energy into heat energy, as its resistance is very high, but this filament is covered in a glass envelope and this space is filled with some inert gases like argon, so that it cannot react with the argon, as argon is an inert gas. So the lifetime of the tungsten or this filament will be increased. The third application is electrical fuse. Electric fuse is basically a safety device which is used in the electrical circuits or household circuits or in industries as well. So what this fuse does, that this is a very thin metal wire which is having a very low melting point. So with the help of this very low melting point, when a large amount of current is flowing through the circuit, then heat will be produced. If this current exceeds a certain value, then the heat will be very high, and because of this heat generated, that thin wire of electric fuse will get melted. And as this is joined in the electrical connections, so this gets melted and breaks the connection of electrical appliances. So this helps to secure or to save the electrical appliances from getting damaged, because if higher current passes through them, they will not work or they will get damaged. So electrical fuse is the one which helps to save our devices. Electrical fuse are available in the range of 1 ampere, 2 ampere, 3 ampere, 5 ampere or 10 ampere. That says that if the current exceeds the rating of the fuse, then the fuse will get melted. Generally copper, tin, lead alloys are used to make the fuse of the electric circuit. Then we have electric energy. So electric energy is the work done by the source to maintain a current in an electric circuit. For example, we have an electric circuit which is having V volt potential difference, a conductor AB. I current is flowing through the circuit. So what we have? Q charge is flowing. So as we know that I current flowing is equal to the charge flowing per unit time. So we can calculate the value of Q from here. So Q is equal to I into T. So this is our equation number 1. Now if we have to calculate the electric work done, then that will be equal to V into Q, that is potential difference into charge. So W is equal to V into Q. Q, on the place of Q, we can put I into T. So V into I into T. So this is electrical energy, that is VIT. Here for volts, V we have this SI unit volt, current ampere, T seconds. So we have volt, ampere, seconds. Volt, ampere is called together called watt.